This is probably one of the most nothing burger Batman Arkham Knight videos out there, but I thought it would be fun to make. P.S. It was not. How far can you actually get into Batman Arkham Knight while only using Batman's most iconic weapon, the Batarang? The rules in this run are as follows. The run does not stop when I use the Batmobile. I will only use it when I am forced to. I am only allowed to use the remote Batarang and Batarang. Fists and ground takedowns are not allowed. Let's get straight into it.
Come on, to the Batmobile!
The challenge began when the camera pans around Batman as he looks over the city aura farming. I skipped most of the cutscenes as I played this game over 1,000 times, so I saw no point to it. I then glided over to my first combat encounter as I attempted to save a cop. This combat encounter was more boring than exciting, as I just had to wait for a red symbol to use my Batarangs, as using them normally deals very little to no damage, meaning my only source of actually knocking someone unconscious is to wait for them to run at me. I managed to get through this part with patience and get into the Batmobile, where, in this chase sequence, I decided not to use my immobilizer and try my best to dash into the car, as I saw using my immobilizer as cheating. I managed to get through this part only taking me 2 times as long as usual. I interrogate the man inside the vehicle and make my way over to Chinatown for my second combat encounter. This encounter, as well as the rest, are painfully long, as waiting for one enemy to run at me takes longer than an entire documentary. Bear in mind, I started this encounter on my live split timer at 11:30 and ended at 14:30, lasting an entire 3 minutes. It's not that bad, but the entire sequence was just me jumping and running without any exciting gameplay. I finished the sequence with the most happiest look on my face and skipped the cutscenes, and have to use the Batmobile again to destroy the tanks. Now, unlike the car, I actually did have to use the Batmobile's weapons, which would technically end the run as I had to use something other than the Batarang. But for video's sake, let's continue. I drove off, skipped the AR training sequence, and made my way to Panessa Studios to destroy more tanks. This was going to be the only fun I have for the next hour. I arrested Poison Ivy and listened to Gordon yap for 2 minutes straight, not knowing that Gotham was under the hands of Batarang Man. I made my way out of the GCPD into Panessa Studios to activate an antenna to further locate Scarecrow. I had to look through all the upgrades and was extremely confused on what to get. I didn't have any Wayne Tech points, but you could say I was just window shopping. I get through this part and moved on to my next encounter, which was where my first roadblock actually happened. You see, in this part of the run where you go to Falcone's shipping yard and throw the Batarang at the door like you're supposed to, normally you could go over and silently take down the enemies. But in this, I'm not allowed to, so I ended up dying trying to Batarang them. I had to get through this part, but how? I tried doing side missions to get more Wayne Tech points, thinking I could muster up enough to get more upgrades to continue. It did work, but I only got 2 Wayne Tech points because the Riddler mission couldn't be completed to get my third because the Batmobile was powering the antenna. And the upgrade I did get was basically useless, until I remembered something. If an enemy gets high enough on the ladder, Batman could throw his Batarang and knock them unconscious when they fall, which ended up working, but taking painfully super long, as I had to wait for enemies to get on the ladder. Once I finished this part, I got a new suit, allowing me to do a lot more things than my previous suit. Goodbye Batarang Man, and welcome Batarang Man version 2. I then realized maybe getting a new suit was a bad thing. With this new suit, I can use a new ability, Fear Takedown, but to use Fear Takedown, I was basically breaking the rules. But I was forced to. I wanted to know how far you could actually get into Arkham Knight until you literally couldn't progress. So I Fear Takedown all the enemies and found Scarecrow's secret hideout and made my way to Ace Chemicals, where my second roadblock happened. Yup, a block after a block. When you go to the top of Ace Chemicals to get inside after the Arkham Knight exploded the entrance, you have to take down around 5 enemies. But remember, takedowns aren't allowed, and Bataranging them was pointless. Normally when you slide, or even hit enemies when they're armed, they can go from orange to blue, meaning they are disarmed. But in silent takedown areas like this, it doesn't happen, so there was nothing I could do. I tried doing everything else, like open the entrance for the Batmobile or even progress without doing this stupid part, but there was literally nothing I could do. Even when I tried progressing with the Batmobile, I still had to deal with these stupid ninjas that can't run at you, meaning Bataranging them or even sliding, which is what I tried doing, did not work. Even if I somehow got through it all, I would still have to deal with the enemies in the Scarecrow part, rendering this run over, meaning you can only complete 12% of the main story only using Batarangs. I guess that's where it ends. God, this was so fucking stupid.